Hello, good evening, and welcome to Newsnight.
Nobody must make himself a tool of disunity to destroy the peace lifestyle of Ghanaians because of politics, because the consequence will be too much.
In tonight's edition, as opposition NDC comes under pressure to resort to the courts for legal redress, leadership of the party vowed to continue street protests to compel EC to change outcome of the polls.
Don't blame us for any other means that will be applied.
We'll hear from former President Mahama as he descends heavily on government over what he describes as brute use of force on the citizenry in Techiman South shootings leading to the death of 2 people.
I was always for see I intimate and so I know young canny ye young fat so one more yes I know. And into that about you I agree. And yet neither who will teach man.
We're live on the ground as the party insists it will fight to defend democracy at the peril of their lives.
Also tonight, following the speedily gazetting of the 2020 presidential election results, we ask what it means to the NDC's pursuit for an independent audit. We'll bring you details. And its official former MP Andrews Isiama joins forces with the NPP.
But for now, I'm not talking about the application to rejoin the party. I'm talking about Parliament. I'm going to be part of the MPP caucus.
We'll get to hear from him here on Newsnight. And 2 regional coordinating councils failed to submit handing over notes as the 2020 presidential transition team kickstart work today. We have all the details.
And in business, Ghana's economy is set to be a recession after 2 quarters contracted when it comes to GDP growth.
And in sports, setback for Accra Hearts of Folk as they fall to defeat after losing 2-0 away to Indiana Stars in the Ghana Premier League.
And much later in the bulletin, the cost of electoral violence.
They asked that I come along with them, but I couldn't. So they showed me a picture of my girl. It was her. She had several bullet wounds on her chest.
We'll tell you the story of a 15-year-old girl who died at the Odododio constituency during the polls. That and more here in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please join us with your thoughts and comments. It's via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. We're on Facebook. We're also live on Twitter. You can leave your comments there with the hashtag ElectionHQ or hashtag Newsnight. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Ernest.
And this is your election headquarters, where we start from in association with Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity, cowbell coffee, taste it, I love it. McDan Shipping and Logistics Limited, your total logistics partner. Padeva Limited, your home of modern furniture. DDP Outdoor Limited, serving great brands. Festiva, adding flavors to your life. With 3-year lotteries, star 787 hash, Ghana's premier and biggest jackpot lottery, and HEPA Plus mixture for your general well-being.
And tonight, the leadership of the opposition NDC has hit back at civil society groups, including governance agencies and religious bodies, which have urged it to resort to the courts for legal redress. The party has rejected the EC's declaration of President Akufo-Addo as winner of the December 7 polls, describing it as flawed and fictitious. The party has been embarking on a series of demonstrations in parts of the country to register their displeasure, but various organizations have urged the NDC to take the matter up in court.
And talk about a series of demonstrations. Yesterday, it started off from Seshirioso and then also in Kumasi, where the women's wing also embarked on that demonstration. Over the weekend, we also saw that in Medina and Adenta. Today, the NDC supporters hit the streets in the Upper West region and, of course, in Tamale as well. But here is Rafiq Salam's report from the Upper West region.
They came in their hundreds, young and old. Upper West Region's NDC protesters demanding greater transparency and recollection of the 2020 presidential results. They chanted on top of their voices, "No Mahama, no peace."
No Mahama, no peace, no Mahama, no peace, no Mahama, no peace, no peace.
We want justice in this country. So we want the reality. They should reveal everything so that we all understand. If not, we will accept. We will not accept this. We will not accept this. We want justice in this country. We want justice. If not, we want democracy. If not, we will leave. We will never ever leave this thing. We want Mahama. We want Mahama. No Mahama, no peace.
We need justice. We need justice in Ghana.
Throughout the 3-hour demonstration, the protesters raised a two-finger salute, a symbol of the position of John Manu Mahama on the ballot paper, and also to draw sympathies from bystanders. There were few dozens when they started, and when they got onto the major streets, the number steadily grew into hundreds, impeding the easy vehicle traffic in town. Draped in either red or black shirts, the few party paraphernalia worn over the necks and arms, they spilled all major streets in the regional capital before heading to the region's EC office to present a petition laying bare the reasons of their demonstration.
This petition to reaffirm the NDC's position that we unequivocally reject the presidential results as declared by the EC chairperson, Madam Jane Mensah, on the 9th of December 2020. It is our considered view that Nana Akufo-Addo was not validly elected and could not be deemed as the president-elect for the Republic of Ghana. Consequentially, we wish to make the following demands on the Electoral Commission. 1, to do a proper audit of all the presidential results as they emanate from the various polling stations across the country and declare the true winner of the 2020 presidential elections to reflect the will of the people. And we are confident that when this audit is done, President John Dramani Mahama will be declared as the winner of the 2020 presidential elections. 2, we also call on the EC to reconsider a fresh collation of the results of the Lambuse constituency to ascertain the true will of the parliamentary elections in that constituency. Going forward, we are calling on the Electoral Commission to recruit competent and impartial electoral officers to man future public elections.
Apawu's director of the EC, Ali Osman Adamu, received a petition.
To the chairperson, that all the issues that we have
having access to the forecourt of the EC office was not gotten on a silver platter as the protesters struggled with the police who had already marched up at the gate. They demanded to enter the premises. The police armed to their teeth wouldn't budge, resulting in heated argument between the two sides. While the arguments ensued at the blind side of the police, some of the supporters started burning down the pile of firecrackers and knockouts, which resulted in the burning of the bush. Personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service, whose office is about 100 meters away, were called but were misdirected to the EC's office at Nakore, which is about 8 kilometers away. The police present tried to fill the gap using leaves of the trees. By the time the Ghana National Fire Service got their bearings right, they had little to do. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
So that is the NDC's protest in the Upper West region today. Now, following all these protests, as civil society has been speaking, the Executive Secretary of Civil Society Organization IDEC, Dr. Emmanuel Akwete, says if there's any way to audit the pink sheets in this year's election outside a legal process, then it should be done. He spoke today at a news conference organized by the Civil Forum Initiative.
I wanted to know how that will be done. Because of the situation we find ourselves in. The EC's results have come up, but if you look back, the EC has asserted its independence in situations that usually you might think that, okay, it's going to dialogue, it's going to find a political agreement on what steps should be taken forward. But working through IPAC has been very difficult, you know that. And sometimes IPAC has even had to take votes on critical issues that needs to be resolved. So given what transpired before the elections and where we've gotten to, what if the EC does not respond positively to what they've said or doesn't take action on that? What do we do? And I think that for us, if it's possible to do it quickly and peacefully within the EC, and the EC will respond and answer some of the questions, because even if the EC is independent, it also has to be, sorry, I had my mask on. If the EC would also listen and find a way of responding, that would be helpful. But we should also entertain the possibility that it might not. What do we do? And this is why we think that probably both tracks should be pursued. You only go to court when other avenues are shut or are not effective. The issues we're dealing with ought to be responded to quickly. We do not have a lot of time for it to drag on.
And so that is the Executive Secretary of IDEC, Dr. Emmanuel Akwete, speaking at that news conference today. One thing the civil society also been speaking about today is about the police protection for the protesters. And Angela Drumna, who spoke on behalf of the Civic Forum today, made the point that the police administration must endeavor to provide protection to the protesters wherever they gather across the country.
Well, today the party leadership, the NDC, travelled to Techiman South, where it is contesting the parliamentary results there. General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketia says those calling on the NDC to back down in the interest of peace are not being fair.
More peaceful means. And don't blame us for any other means that will be applied. Because injustice, and there were and it peace. Now, fly yourself, peace, but Mimi the form of me call Eddie Dadua, Elbow me triple the hammer, elbow so, bye, me down. Me, dear one, what's your best as you gave up? And didn't you know, me, I don't have father, do I know more to you? And Timoya, but in for papa, no best as you gave up. The Akuta Manu, only that one who will be tribunal, or not as I said, who want to send this song, no daddy, no, and just
That's the General Secretary of the Opposition NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. My colleague Erastus Asari was there and joins us on the line. Erastus, first, a quick translation of what the General Secretary has been saying.
So basically, he's talking about those who are calling for the NDC to make peace, and that the NDC is like somebody who has been pinned down by another person, and that person is sitting on his neck using a nail to hit his head, and you are saying that that person should not be shouting for help, but then should allow the other person to drum the nail into his head. If the other person who those calling for peace should quickly attack so that there will be peace.
And we know that the former president, the NDC presidential candidate John Mahama, was also there. He spoke about the death of 2 persons in that constituency.
Yes, he said it was unfortunate. In his own words, it was unfortunate, and that normally we hear is the police who are responsible for such activities, and that they are only assisted by the military. And he calls that the use of force by this administration to try to sort of pin the members of the NDC down because they are the ones who have been affected.
And we understand that he visited some of the victims also who are at the hospital?
Yes, 2 of them, all males, at the Wenchi Methodist Hospital. That is where he went, followed by a number of supporters and elected MPs to visit the 2, make some cash donations, and pledged the NDC support for them.
And just to put it in context, these are people who are affected by the shooting incidents at Techiman. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the videos making the rounds on social media. But Erastus, the former president, we understand, met with the Traditional Council.
Yes, he met with the Traditional Council before going to the Wenchi Methodist Hospital. And there, again, he spoke about the use of force by this administration and pinning down supporters of the NDC.
Only as I say, 1992, Yamai, a year nipa bebree equatorial say intro constitution for mine. And no day 1992 constitution by ayi na jitu say kabema mke bia membo and no and yama Ghana. The free sound no ya twa we come one and the year working I to na abatro keka nipa de krata equatorial da kam na watchre na adwen say Manu na asesa ni pay and efese obedi kan efie na ya eba me hu say ye di soldier for ejina musa e police for ejuma me di oma benida me di vice president da I just say ya to apa abra ye wa bemu police for any edition na ho be bia edu de tin asan ye di soldier for na say ya me na say educate kan I also was for see a intimi and so I know young can ye young fat so one more years and into that about your tree and yet nipper who teach man on sending by me and son. You can't nipper who ever can on Brucia say.
And so that is the former President John Dramani Mahama speaking about the work of the security agencies and the use of brute force in police in the 2020 elections. Erastus is still with us on the line. Erastus, we are learning that the NDC national chairman, Samuel Ofusampofo, was also there and he spoke to the party supporters.
Yes, he also spoke with the supporters, but he also re-echoed the words of the General Secretary of the party to the extent that this whole fight is not about the NDC, it's about the democracy of the country, and that they will continue to protest to ensure that people understand that they are not happy with the way the EC treated them.
Ghana, you're now one of the most renowned electoral commissioners, Dr. Kodeo Farijai, and yes, I know you're the Duma. Charlotte Osai, and yes, I know you're the Duma. Now results, you declare and call man like my mistake. So also have a mistake here. If the fundamental is wrong, then everything else is wrong. And you can say, the man son name the crop was said. Results, you declare, me a kasi way a King James version. Me a Baba Kata Fabiatia, you the revised standard version, Fabiatia, you the new international version, Fabiatia, you found another version, one result, who declared how many times? So, one say, yes, some results there. As some results are concordant.
You heard that the NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofusampofo for reiterating the issues that the NDC have raised over the period on the computational errors in terms of the declaration of the results. But former President John Mahama says he will not incite people to destabilize the peace of the country. He spoke earlier with the Voice of America.
Let me make one point clear. I'm not going to do anything that jeopardizes the peace of this country. So I'm peace loving. I'm not going to incite people to go, destroy things and do anything. I won't do that. I'm peace-loving, but I think that we've reached a point in our democracy where we need to establish the principles of our democracy and make sure that we uphold them at all times. Nanado, in his period in office, has shown that he's not willing to abide by democratic principles.
Why do you say that?
I mean, a lot of the things he's done over the last 4 years, show that he does not believe in, democracy. His misuse of the military and the security services and national security to threaten journalists and, just create a general atmosphere, that is, unpleasant to our democratic principles is something that I do not agree with. And if my principled objection to a very flawed election and to the circumstances surrounding the environment surrounding the election, will make us re-establish our democratic foundations and create a better foundation for the future, I'm willing to go that route.
You have a lot of friends, heads of state, top officials everywhere. Since this election, have they reached out to you, and what is the conversation with them about how the elections went?
Many of them have called me and asked me, what is happening. And I've explained my side to them. And they've listened to me, understandingly. And of course, the question they always ask me, so what are your next steps? Yeah. I can't determine those next steps alone. I led a political party. And so we need to take that decision together. And so I normally tell them that we're in the process of establishing exactly what our case is against what went on. And at the appropriate time, we will put that out.
Former President John Dramani Mahama there. Now, while the NDC challenges the outcome of the 2020 polls, the Electoral Commission has in record time, Emefa, gazetted the result of the presidential elections, and you have a copy of that statement.
Okay, so we've cited a portion of that document, at least a page of the CI 135. It says Declaration of President-elect Instrument 2020 in exercise of the power conferred on the Electoral Commission under Article 63, Clause 9 of the 1992 Constitution. This instrument is hereby made. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the New Patriotic Party NPP presidential candidate, having in the presidential election held on the 7th of December 2020, pursuant to Article 63, Clause 3 of the Constitution, obtained more than 50% of the total number of valid votes cast, is hereby declared the President-elect of the Republic of Ghana, given under my hand the 9th day of December 2020, Mrs. Jean Mensah, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission. There are some other inscriptions down there. Date of Gazette publication is worth note is 10th of December 2020, and this is printed by Ghana Publishing Company Limited, Assembly Press, Accra, and it goes on to give the details of the publishing company.
So the 10th of December is 2 days after the declaration.
After the declaration, that's when it was gazetted, and you recall that on Newsfile, Mr. Kwekubako made mention of it there to Samson Ladia Yenene. But there are questions about what this actually means then to the NDC's quest to challenge the electoral results. They've been asking for an independent audit of the pink sheets. That's the only basis upon which Mr. Mahama has said he would accept the outcome of the 2020 polls. Let's speak to private legal practitioner, Mr. Martin Pebu. Thank you very much for your time here on Newsnight, sir. So then, with all this, now that the result has been gazetted, what does it mean for those who are challenging the results as declared by the Electoral Commission?
Okay, so by Article 63, Clause 3, as you indicated earlier, this is evidence that the president-elect is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So with this, it means that the EC has formally declared him as president, and then the 21 days for which, or within which a person may challenge the election of a president begins to count. So within 21 days from today, if nobody presents a petition, then that's the end. Nobody can thereafter challenge the election of the president.
As in bring a petition to the EC or to the court, which one exactly do you mean?
Oh, to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Yes.
Rightly so, but we've heard the NPP, the NDC, I beg your pardon, request the Electoral Commission to audit. They want an independent audit of the pink sheet. At this point, will the EC do that by itself, or the NDC has to go to court to get that to be done?
Okay, so prima facie, or let's say that going by the Constitution, the NDC has an incontestable right to go to the Supreme Court. But if they make a plea to the Electoral Commission and the Commission so decides to grant that, okay, they will recollate, nothing stops the Commission. Let's make this distinction. You see the instrument you read. It's the declaration. You see that the actual figures were not added. It's because it takes time to put all those things together. So earlier on, in 2005, Metal Nunu and Co. challenged the publication, the one you found, without the actual results. And the Supreme Court said, oh, the EC cannot be asked to put all those into the declaration as you've read, the CI. So I'm thinking that because it takes time to collate all those things, I don't see anything that prevents the EC from auditing if it makes the process better. Remember, the Supreme Court has said, look, they would not stampede the EC if EC takes any decision that they find legal. The Supreme Court will not stampede them. So it's up to EC to decide whether to grant the NDC their wish or to refuse it.
And once they decide to grant or refuse, they will not be violating any laws by maybe going ahead to audit as the NDC is requesting.
Exactly.
Okay. Ms. Akpebu, grateful for your time, Mr. Martin Pebu, for joining us here on the line with that clarity to that particular issue. But Ernest, we've been trying to reach the members of the legal team of the NDC, and they've declined an interview on this matter following the gazetting of the results by the Electoral Commission. They've informed us that they are meeting on the matter and will comment in due time.
Of course, this is your election headquarters here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. It's now time for business. After business, we'll tell you about the transition process. Whilst the NDC is challenging this and wants an audit, government is still going ahead with the transition process. We'll bring you up to speed on that and tell you what else is happening on your election headquarters. Hello, George.
Hi, Kojo and Emefa. I knew that we read these things in our economics textbooks, but maybe we are living to see it as far as reporting on economic and finance. Well, because you understand that the Ghanaian economy has contracted, it means that for the past 2 consecutive quarters, growth actually slowed. And it has implications for businesses, for the economy, and even you and I. I'll be telling you more on that after that recession recorded for the 3rd quarter of this year based on the GDP numbers. And strong growth in the agricultural sector actually helped slow the contraction that we recorded in the 3rd quarter of this year. I'll also be telling you how much the economy is worth ending the 3rd quarter of this year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
Fellow Ghanaians, how would you want to end an eventful year?
To stay home,
keep safe, and still have a good time
at the MTN Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols.
Yes, let's climax this year with a bang as we sing and make merry at the MTN Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols. Let's have a jolly good time with the sensational MTN Viva Voices, El Dunamis Choir, MTN Hitmaker Proteges, Curl Songs, Last Mid, Adipa, and the award-winning Kwame Eugene. So, on the 18th of December at 7 p.m., make a date with us on Facebook and YouTube for an unforgettable night. Stay home, keep safe, and enjoy a night of pure bliss.
We day for you everywhere you go.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
We know
know it's important to create a productive and supportive working environment by investing in your employees' health. With a leading international track record, Apex Health Insurance is regulated and licensed by the National Health Insurance Authority to provide medical insurance services to institutional clients, families, and individuals. Apex Student Package and International Medical Solutions are all here to cushion you. Visit Apex Health Insurance Office at Zion House, Boundary Road, Shiashi, or call
0501 683 914.
or 0232 000 015. In Kumasi, we are located opposite Prempeh College, Sofo Line, and in Takrady, Apex Health, your preferred health insurer.
Jack, if nobody will give you anything this Christmas, Samsung dare your back. Hey, do penny. Every Samsung shop you enter, whether you are in the north or in the south, we are giving you free gifts with every Samsung device you buy. Tina Hoji and Kasa. Buy any Samsung mobile phone. That one alone be too much flex. Then in addition, you will get gifts ranging from free screen repair vouchers, wireless chargers, battery packs, phone covers, screen protectors, t-shirts, and many, many more. Papa, bring yourself the trust. Come on, it's like Samsung they sponsored the bringer this year. You know they see, make you know slack cry. Terms and conditions apply.
Fellow Ghanaians, how would you want to end an eventful year?
To stay home,
Keep safe and still have a good time
at the MTN Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols.
Yes, let's climax this year with a bang as we sing and make merry at the MTN Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols. Let's have a jolly good time with the sensational MTN Viva Voices, El Dunamis Choir, MTN Hitmaker Proteges, Curl Songs, Last Mid, Adipa, and the award-winning Kwame Eugene. So, on the 18th of December at 7 p.m., make a date with us on Facebook and YouTube for an unforgettable night. Stay home, keep safe, and enjoy a night of pure bliss.
We day for you everywhere you go.
Welcome back to Business on News. Now, the economy cannot be described as being in a recession. Now, this was after recorded 2 consecutive negative growth for 2 separate quarters of this year. Figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service showed that for the second and third quarter of this year, growth dropped by more than 1%. The development could mean that the economic activities has indeed slowed, while it has negative impact on revenue mobilization, profits of businesses, and more job losses, or some difficulties in getting new jobs as well by the citizens and people in the population. It could also affect businesses when it comes to purchases, as many may not have enough income to actually spend. Meanwhile, economist Professor Peter Cote says the data showed that we may be getting out of this challenge soon, looking at how the economy fared in the third quarter of this year.
The third quarter GDP figures shows that the economy has again contracted, and it means we are recording a recession. But it's also refreshing to note that if you compare this with the second quarter of 2020, you will see a moderation. The decline in growth has been marginal this time around, and hopefully in the last quarter of this year, we are likely to see some positive growth rates, which will then dampen or moderate the negative growth rates we've recorded in the last 2 quarters of this year. I expect that as we ease constraints gradually, as we expand production, as businesses invest, we are likely to see some growth numbers, positive growth numbers, appreciable numbers in 2021 and the years ahead.
Professor Peter Cote is an economist. Now, the agricultural sector continues to do extremely well in the wake of COVID-19. Data released by the Ghana Statistical Service showed that it grew by more than 8% compared to the other sectors of the economy that actually contracted. There's more in the following Business Desk report.
The data from the Ghana Statistical Service shows that the agricultural sector for the second time running recorded a significant growth compared to the other sectors in the economy. It grew by 8.3%, while industry went down by 5.1%. Also, services contracted by some 1.1%. The agri sector's performance may again show its resilience to COVID-19 shocks, while other sectors continue to be hit badly by the shocks of the pandemic. For some, the development may show that with a little push, agric could be the savior of the economy or help sustain growth. In terms of how other subsectors fared, information and communication was immune to the COVID-19 pandemic as it went up by 53%. However, the hotel subsector recorded the highest contraction of 62%. Mining also went down by some 16.9%. The services sector continues to command the largest share of the economy with about 42%, followed by industry with 35% and the agric sector commanding 23%. In monetary terms, the total value of the economy ending the third quarter of this year may be worth about 254 billion Ghana cedis.
And that was a business desk report. Meanwhile, the Ghana Statistical Service says it might be too early to project that things might be picking up, or just based on the third quarter numbers, think that we are maybe getting out of this challenge or will be end the year with a higher growth. Let's hear from Professor Samuel Kobnenin. He is the government statistician.
Analysts that have predicted growth rates over the period, one should be careful the way we look at those analyses. I'm pretty sure that the 1.1% that is being predicted is annual GDP rather than a quarter-on-quarter GDP. So I'm sure once we share with you what happens in the fourth quarter of the year, we can come back to the discussion on whether what the analysts are predicting is consistent with what the situation on the ground is. So let's put emphasis on the fact that this is only quarter 3 2020, and one is not too sure what is going to happen in the last quarter of the year. And that is what is going to impact the whole year GDP on annual basis. Indeed, it is too early because one is not too sure the interventions that are being instituted, what we've received for the months of October and November, and how that is going to impact on the earlier 3 quarters that we have data on.
Professor Samuel Kobnenin is the government statistician, talking about the fact that we should be careful about the projections made for the end of year growth of the economy, despite the fact that the growth might be turning around in terms of how it fared for the third quarter of this year. The United Nations Development Programme says Ghana has improved significantly on its human development projects. According to the economic advisor for the UNDP Ghana, Frederick Mushiga, Ghana has enhanced its social development programs to ensure the country continues with this positive trajectory progresses. Mr. Mushiga spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of the launch of the 2020 edition of the Human Development Report.
According to the Human Development Report, in the index, we account for gender differences in inequalities related to education, health, and standard of living. Ghana has been doing very well in terms of human development progress since 1990, when the first report was written.
And that is Frederick Mushiga. He's the economic advisor at UNDP Ghana. Let's turn our attention to the stock market. And if you are a shareholder in Ghana Commercial Bank, that is GCB, the value was up by 14 pesos today and is now worth 4 Ghana cedis. And that's all we end business on Newsnight. Back to you, Kojo and Emefa.
Thank you very much, George Riafe. We'll do some of your messages that you've sent in is via WhatsApp 055-111-997. And this one from Philip in North Legon. He says, why is government interested in passing the bill that seeks to empower the president to appoint majority members of a public universities council? This subtle attempt to push through the hidden agenda of changing the name of University of Ghana will not see the light of day.
And this one from Awini Johnson from Zebula says, John Dramani Mahama won the elections fairly, and we expect the EC to come out and declare Mahama as president-elect.
Sarah Manful in Winneba says that these demonstrations must come to an end, though, because gradually it will lead to something else, because life is more precious, but rather unfortunate that some people lost their lives, and may they rest in the Lord. We're bringing you that story of the 15-year-old girl that lost her life in Odododio.
And another one here says, good evening, Ernest and Emefa. If John Mahama and his NDC claim the EC announcement of the result is flawed, then they should go to court and seek redress, and also stop the panic mongering because that will bring chaos. Go on.
So AU Farouk in Tamale says NDC will not rest until the right thing is done. Why is the MPP afraid of a forensic audit, he asks. Noah Olansky says he's from Kumeric. And he says this so-called university bill should be withdrawn from Parliament with immediate effect. What's the purpose of this bill at all?
Another one here has no name. I have listened to the NDC closely. I still do not understand what they seek to achieve with these numerous protests without going to court. And Eric from Aflau also says, it's pronounced Apawu.
Apawu, yes.
Okay. His Excellency John Mahama and the NDC should not disturb the peace of this country with their protests. If they think they are not satisfied with the results, they should go to court. Let peace reign in our dear country.
And Papa Ansa Tashinungwa Estate says, I'm really disappointed in the Fomina MP. We heard what the President and the Education Minister said during the campaign. I'm really disappointed in him and the party as a whole. It appears that you are more like a soothsayer or a prophet, because we are just going to that particular story right now, and it's official. He has joined forces with the NPP after several days of deliberations with both the majority and minority sides of Parliament. Fomina MP-elect Andrew Amwakwesiama has arrived at a decision, and he has revealed once again to parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo that he will join the NPP side of the House in the next Parliament. Now, he adds that the decision was not taken alone, but in consultation with the chiefs and people of Fomina. Listen to him.
To be frank with you, I wasn't happy with the decision of the Speaker, because I've not come across any precedents in this House. And like I said, I'm not the first person who might have taken this particular steps. But be that is me, that is what happened. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. What is important is that it is my family, and I'm going back to that family. Whatever is needful, the family will see to it. I hope so. But for now, there's no demands. But for now, I'm not talking about the application to rejoin the party. I'm talking about Parliament. I'm going to be part of the MPP caucus.
And what would that have to give? Based on what would you then join the NPP? Are you going to expect them to do anything else while you're going forward in terms of maybe protecting you going into the next primary? There have been a lot of reports that you made some demands of the party, a tall list of items. Are you really making this?
I've already responded to that. I've never made any request. Two, I'm not going to make any specific demands. Probably what might have brought the party quite down was some of these decisions, that protecting this, doing this. So if something like that was done to me and I wasn't happy, why should I also decide to request or make such demand? I've never done that. What I am looking for is to make sure that everything the party does is open, transparent, for everybody to see that this is the way we are going. That is what I'm looking for. I am not going to make specific demands that.
So just to be clear, you've taken that decision already that you are joining the NPP side as far as the next Parliament.
That's what I said. From the chiefs, the queen mothers, and the good people of the Fomina constituency, this is what they are telling me, that in spite of whatever happened, I should still be with the family.
So the NPP candidates had indicated that attempts to reach you have proven futile. Are you willing to work with the party in the constituency?
I told you there were a lot of pressure on me. So immediately after the elections, there were a lot of security issues also on me. So all my phones were off. So I wouldn't have any reason to doubt whether he actually made an attempt to reach me. But the fact of the matter is that he's my senior brother. The contest, the game is over. Obviously, we shall meet and discuss the way forward.
Do you think Professor Michael Kwe treated you fairly by kicking you out of the
I've answered this question. I've answered it. I said, as far as I'm concerned, the decision was not fair. I was not happy about it. But what can you do? It's part of life. You take it in your strides and move on.
Do you hold anything against him?
I don't hold anything against anybody. Not yet, but verbally a lot of communication has gone on. Not formally in the form of somehow, yes.
Who exactly has apologized to you verbally?
No.
Okay, so just to get a sense, for example, has the president reached out to you yet for a conversation?
I understand the president was trying to reach out to me personally, but like I said, immediately after the elections, my phone has been off. So he made it through some people who reached out to me.
And have you reached out back to him?
So have they given you any offers that might influence?
Offer is not important in my life. What is important in my life is principle. And I cannot take any offer without recourse to my constituents. What my constituents has made it clearly is that whatever has happened, I should still belong to the family. And that is period.
What is the MPP offering you? Ministerial position?
Nothing.
Nothing. That's the Formula MP elect, and the nothing part caught me. So he says he got nothing.
Joseph joins us in the studio.
He insists that as far as any background negotiation, he's not put out any conditions based on which he's joining the NPP. I specifically put it to him that there's been conversation around him possibly becoming deputy speaker or a minister, but he repeatedly insisted that no, he's not made any demands based on which
and he's not been offered anything.
In fact, if you listen, he says, "I will not make any demand." That's what I heard him say.
But it's not the same as saying that I will not accept any offers.
Of course, but for me,
so that's what I'm asking.
It's important, and you see, I hear.
What do you hear?
Oh no, I was actually going to say there's not anything from the grapevine, but he sounded very modest.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember, I said in the newsroom that it'll be interesting to hear the man say that, well, he's not interested in anything.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps all he wants to do is just return to the party. And he says that people want him back.
And
the people who voted for
to
him.
Be on the side of the NPP going forward. And he confirmed a few things, though, that the NDC side had also reached out
to him.
He confirmed that there had been an attempt by the presidency to contact him, but the president has actually conveyed messages to him based on communication through other people. And of course, he doesn't hold any grudges against the NPP as a party. He looks forward to working with them. Today, he as he walked about in the house, a lot of his colleagues, both on the majority and the minority side, were giving him the high five.
But how is the minority reacting to this?
Well, they saw this coming.
Yeah.
Although they had made the attempt, they knew that obviously he was going to side with those on the majority side. Now, Senate will now eventually decide what the outcome will be. But with him deciding to sit with the majority, it's clear that
it puts them in the lead.
Precisely.
Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo. Let's do sports now. Hans Mensando.
I've been following the conversation.
Okay.
I really want to be the Mino Raila for the man. You know Mino Raila? He's Paul Pogba's agent. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's agent. I really want to be the Formula MPs.
There's a man who wants nothing.
Agent.
He wants nothing, so he won't get anything.
That doesn't mean he won't take anything.
He won't take anything.
Every man wants something.
And that's what he's telling us.
Everyone has a price.
Every man has a price. Every man wants something in life. So you never know. Maybe I can broker a good deal for him, be it with the minority or the majority.
Let's see how that goes. Let's
do sports. No deals at Doma, and the Rihanna Stars, they recorded their first victory in the Ghana Premier League as they beat Accra Hearts of Oak by 2-0 at the Nana Ajimambedu Park in Doma. Captain of the side, Yaya Mohammed, opened the scoring on the 41st minute mark to give the Oja boys the lead. Hearts of Oak were awarded a penalty in stoppage time, but the Rihanna Stars goalkeeper Joseph Edu saved Radio Voca's effort. The defeat sees the Phobians lying 18th on the Premier League table with 5 points. We move away from the Ghana Premier League, and Jose Mourinho has played down Liverpool's injury crisis ahead of their Premier League clash later tonight at Anfield. According to Mourinho, every club encounters injury problems, but Liverpool's only big injury is skipper Virgil van Dijk.
Alisson is not injured. Alexander-Arnold is not injured. Matip, I believe that is going to play. Fabinho is not injured. Robertson is not injured. Anderson is not injured. Wijnaldum is not injured. Salah is not injured. Firmino is not injured. Mane is not injured. Van Dijk is injured. But give me Liverpool list of injuries and compare that list of injuries with what is the best Liverpool team. And then I can give you a list of 10 injuries at Tottenham. We have 2 kids of the under 16 with injuries. We have 2 other in the under 21 and we have 3 in the under 23. We have Lamela and and Tanganga, and here you have a list of 10 players. But Islori is injured? No. Alderweireld injured? No. Dyer injured? No. Reguilon injured? No. Hurricane injured? No. Son injured? No. Lucas injured? No. So where are the injuries? There are injuries, normal. It's normal. James Milner is injured, Lamelle is injured, and every club has now and again an injury. Liverpool has a big injury, which is Van Dijk.
As Tottenham Hotspur manager Jose Mourinho speaking ahead of his side's clash against Liverpool at Anfield tonight.
Thank you very much, Hans Mensah Ando there with the latest from the world of sports. Now, Odododio in Accra is another constituency which was classified a flashpoint prior to the elections, and it did not disappoint. A 15-year-old girl is one of the 2 teenagers who died during disturbances there. Ernest Manu returned to the area to speak to her family and friends.
We're here now at Bukum to speak to the family of one of the victims. Aside Emmanuel, there was a young lady, 15 years of age, Rita, who was also shot and died eventually. We'll speak to the mother of the 15-year-old and some relatives here at Bukum.
After I had voted, I decided to go do business because I'm a single parent. I have no one to help me. Soon after I returned from the market, I heard people screaming. They said my daughter was dead, but I couldn't believe it. So I followed up to the hospital, and indeed, I saw my daughter was dead.
Rita's grandmother believes she was shot multiple times on the chest.
I was about to take a nap when someone told me that my granddaughter had been shot dead. They asked that I come along with them, but I couldn't. So they showed me a picture of my girl. It was her. She had several bullet wounds on her chest. My granddaughter is dead.
The families want the 2 parties, the NPP and the NDC, to take swift action and help them bury their daughter.
We're celebrating the supposed victory of the NPP. She supports the NPP even though her mother sympathizes with the NDC. None of the parties have been here to mourn with us. They should help us bury her. We plead with them.
MPP ayanyi no inabila na lebini je na kana sane ana le nakan won panye fanye wani wo fun gbeken ta wo na fun.
A very sad story there.
Really sad. I wonder how you coped throughout those
It was difficult, especially after they showed me a picture of the girl. I remember the grandmother was talking about the bullet wounds.
Yeah, and she couldn't even vote.
Bloody.
So, wow.
Bloody.
Our condolences to the family at this point. No politician is worth your life, I should say. And that's it for Newsnight. And just before we go, exactly 48 hours, and we are told that the Power FM presenter has been granted bail.
Yeah.
And we'll be hearing from the lawyers subsequently. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Enimwa Enimado is up next with Strong and Sassy. I am Emefa.